not over
so much better.
Zoom. Hi, guys.
Hi, welcome to Polite as Fuck.
Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday.
Hope you guys are having a fabulous week.
Yeah, if you're tuning in for the first time, we are both traveling or out of town for like the last 3 weeks. Well, Ellie was, and I was alone.
Yeah. I was alone. And then it was me that was alone. Yeah. Only for a week, though.
So now we're back. This is our typical setup where we bring our kitchen table into the living room.
There's like wires going everywhere. The camera's on a bar stool. We're doing it.
Someday we'll show the behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But
today is not that day.
Today is not that day. So, what's new in your neck of the woods?
Well, in my neck of the woods, I got back. So I went to Florida to go visit family and have like our family vacation that we pretty like, not annually, but every other year try to get together and do. And it was so much fun. I just love being with family. It's just so refreshing. And it's interesting to go back to a place where I was born and like have memories and family is like basically from, but haven't really spent like a lot of time there except for like what I was doing, like vacationing. And so this time I really tried to like envision what it would be like to like live here. And like obviously we've been talking about wanting to like go somewhere else, so that was fun to do. And then also just kind of like, wow, like it's crazy how if I would have stayed here, how different my life would be.
In what way? What do you think would be different?
I think there would be like, I don't know, I don't want to spend, I'm trying to like not spend too much time in the past, but I also think like, I don't know, not being in the military, like not that I was in the military, but like not moving around, being like with family all the time, like having that culture, having that bond. I also don't think I would appreciate it as much as I do now because I didn't grow up like that. So it's just like a lot of reflecting and a lot of just like really great time hanging out with the family. And we're all and Sophia, my sister, says this all the time, and she's really good about telling people, but like we are like such an attractive family. Like we're just like so cute. We're so like loud and out there, and it's just very like beautiful. And so when we are all like squished together for 2 weeks, the dynamics kind of like it's just interesting to watch. I mean, in the moment we're all like and then when we leave I'm like, oh fuck, that was so much fun, I loved it. And so it was nice to be home, and then spent some time after Florida, spent a few days back where we met in Nevada, and that's always fun to hang out and be there. It was just like hot in the valley, and I was like, this is just too much dirt and sagebrush, and I just can't do it anymore.
The allergies were popping off.
Unreal. And other than that, not too much is Disney World.
Oh yeah, Ellie's now a Disney adult.
If you haven't, you guys should go follow our Instagram and all of our other platforms that we have out there. But recently, when I was in Florida, I went to Disney World with my family. So there were like 15 of us all on that fucking park. I don't know how we did it, but it was great. Anyways, I had texted Erica and was like, I've become what we both despise or something like that. And like, I'm a Disney freak now. I wouldn't say I'm a Disney freak or a Disney adult. I just really enjoyed myself. I had a great time. The family had a great time. It was probably like my favorite day. We were all getting along. We all had a great time. And
do you think you're getting along because of Disney or because of your niece?
Disney. It was the magic. For sure, 100%. It was the magic that brought us together. No, it was just like, I don't know, it's like fun to see everybody like play dress up, and like the kids are so excited. And then there's like also drinks allowed, and so you're feeling good, the kids feeling good, you're like, everybody's good. I don't know, it was a lot of fun. It was just like there's so much to do that I was like never bored. And then you also feel like good eating. Also, like they had good food.
Yeah, the food's not bad.
No, not at all. And like you feel kind of like at first you're like, oh, am I about to get like soba noodles at Disney World? Like, fuck yeah, I am. And they were delicious. So shout out Disney World. Noodles? Like the like rice noodle, like teriyaki noodles kind of. Okay. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I'm pretty sure I am. But yeah, so I loved it. I was a little disappointed though, because I really wanted, not that we need any more coffee cups, and I literally told Anais, I was like, if I bring home a coffee cup, I think Erica's gonna kill me. Like, there's no
they're
more.
They're
falling out of the cabinet now. But I really wanted to get like merch from Disney World, and their selection sucked ass. So I got like a janky ring.
But she got the cutest little shot glass. Like a coffee mug.
Yeah, I got a shot glass, I got a little ring, and then I got the dog toys. So...
And the dog toys are so cute.
It's so cute. If you guys have ever seen the movie Coco, it is, one of the toys is a piñata, and then the other one is a little chancla. The chancla that the grandma takes off to swat everybody with.
And it's so little.
It's so little. Erica tried to put it on Bash's foot, and Bash stood up and just immediately kicked it off.
But it does fit a little dog paw.
Yeah, it's very cute. Yeah, that's all. That's new with me, not too, like, exciting, but exciting for me.
Yeah. Well, I was just in Nevada for a week. Before that, I was just hanging out in San Diego, enjoying the San Diego summer, going on some dates, hanging out with friends. Got a lot more content to share when we do that episode.
I know, I was just about to be like, how were those days? But just have to save it.
Not great. But that's not a surprise to me anymore. It's just like, whatever. And was in Tahoe for the whole week with the fam. That is an annual thing. My grandparents have a timeshare that they've had since like the 70s up in Incline, which is really fun. Because it's like being from Minden, you're close to Tahoe, but like actually staying up at the lake for a week is so different. Yeah. Like I was outside at the lake every day, which was nice. And there's a pool there. We played pickleball. I feel like... So you made the comment earlier of like when you're back home, you feel prettier.
Yes. Yes. I asked you that today. Which I do want to
unpack.
Yes.
When I'm back home, I feel like I'm this like rugged, active, like just earthy girl.
Yeah. Back home, Nevada.
Yeah. Like, I think because my mom is a very active person, but also having like younger siblings, like we're not going to the bars, which there are not that many bars to go to. Like we're not like going out and being hungover the next day. Like we literally one day, two of my sisters went and did like a practice triathlon at like 7:30 in the morning. They went and swam in the lake. My brother and I go over to the track. We did this workout where I still can barely walk. And like we're hiking around. Like it's fun. I'm exhausted, but I'm like, I love this. Mm-hmm. Like I love being outside all day. Yeah. It's so fun. But I don't necessarily feel prettier. I just feel like it like reignites in me like that side that I feel like is me. Yeah. That I sometimes lose like living in the city or being with like, I don't know, in San Diego, there's a lot of things going on all the time and it's not all like active outdoorsy things. So.
Well, you made my comment seem super superficial.
No, that's not what I meant.
But I do think like that's basically what I was trying to say though, is like for me I just put the word like prettier, but it is like confidence. Like you just feel more yourself. Yeah. At home. I just feel so confident.
Being in the mountains, like we went to Truckee, which is a like little mountain town on the California side of the lake, and just even hanging out there, it was an adult outing of like people are drinking, there's live music, like whatever, but I was like, I love this. Mm-hmm. Like I'm so happy right now. And you look around and you see all the trees and everyone's just in the mountain air. Oh, it's so hard because I come back to here and I'm like, this feels like home. I love the ocean. Like we went and surfed this morning and I was like, I love this. I know. I need both.
I know. I need both too. And it's hard because like I love Florida, but outside of Florida, because I feel like that's very vacation-y right now, and it's like a thought on like inside my brain that I'll just like keep in there for right now. Mm-hmm. But as far as like in like the West Coast, like I can't help, like I don't necessarily want to live like in the valley because it's just in the valley. Yeah. But like Tahoe's a bit expensive, but I'm like in order to like live that kind of life, like Reno's just right there. I know. And it's like doable. The family's there. I think about it all the time because I do love the mountains. And I feel like there's always, I don't know, it's just sometimes I get so distressed by like the amount of like people and things here. Yeah. So I'm like, yes, there's things to do, but like the hiking trail is close, but still like a bit of a drive, probably the same. But when you get there, you have one view that's pretty because of the ocean, but everything else is just like buildings and I'm like, in Nevada, you don't get that. You look at one view and there's a lake, and you turn around and there are the rest of the fucking mountains.
Yeah. It's definitely much more like secluded.
I like it. Yeah,
I do need that.
I do feel like this past month has been, I wouldn't even say like reflection. It's been like good just to like chill and not really think of anything. But you can't help but like, or should I say I can't help but feel like, oh man, like what am I doing? Like still, what am I doing? Where should I go? Because I love it all.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like I would live in Truckee, but I would only want to live there for the summer. I would not want to be there during the winter when I can't even leave my house because there's so much snow. No, I don't want to do that. So it's like I could be in like a place for like 3 months at a time, and like come back to San Diego. Like San Diego, September, October time, chef's kiss. So perfect. So maybe I do that. I don't know.
I just also feel like I've been thinking recently of like, I love to like dream of like, oh, what my life could be, or like if I could do anything, this is what I would do. And like, I want to see the world and yada yada. But I also think too, how do I romanticize the life that I already have? And like, how do I like live for the little moments that I like love so much?
Yeah.
And make that a reality. Even here in San Diego is like, as much as I'm like trying to find this thing elsewhere, maybe just because I'm like, I constantly itch for like a move, and it's like hitting that time of year. But it's also, how do I take the things that I love to do and like make them a daily thing?
I do think like having a vacation, having time with family like resets it. Like I noticed, I mean, it's been 2 days, but I noticed for myself like the mental shift, and like even getting home and being like, do you want to go swimming? Like genuinely it was like, because I was ready.
Yeah.
Like, because that's what we were doing all the week. Like, was like
exactly.
activities. And I love that. Like, I love getting into bed just being exhausted. Yeah. And like passing out from like having a full day. I do think you can burn yourself out. Like, with everything, there's balance. But 90% of the time, I would prefer that feeling. Yeah. Over like, I laid around all day. Yeah. You know?
For me, it's even just like those small moments of like, talking with family in the morning with coffee. Like I can make these things happen. Like we have phones, I can pick them up. How do I like make these small little things like a priority instead of like feeling like I need to save and I can't do anything because I'm like saving for this big trip. I'm like, if my life was just like this all the time, maybe I wouldn't feel the need of like, I have to take 3 weeks off so that I can go like find myself again.
That is true, though.
Thinking.
Like, leaving with my siblings from dinner and my mom, I was like, I'm so happy that I get to leave with these people. Like, that these are the people that are, like, my family, and this is our little unit. Like, I'm stoked that I don't have to go home with anyone else. Yeah.
Everybody else fucking weird. No, I totally agree. And, like, just, I don't know. Sometimes it's hard to, like, even put into words. Because I get it. There are people out there who, like, don't vibe with their family, and I respect that. But, like, goddamn, like, I'm so glad that I do. And that we have the dynamic. Or even just, like,
a family-type group. Like, it doesn't have to be blood. I think that people hopefully have at least a person that feels like family to them.
It just, like, feels like home. Yeah. And there was, like, a moment, and I think about it all the time, because it's, like, what I miss. And it's just, like, my sisters and I were talking about it while we were there. But it's, like, a feeling of all is right. And it only happens, like, once in a while. And for me and, like, for my sisters, it is that moment of, like, when we're in Florida and everybody's just, like, we're all together. And, like, we're all, like, not necessarily in the same room, but we're all, like, around each other. There'll be, like, 4 people in the living room having a conversation. People are in the kitchen, like, cooking or making coffee. And then some people are out. Like, everybody's talking. Everybody's having their own conversation. And you just, like, I'm going to start crying, and I don't mean to. But, like, you just sit and, like, you, like, close your eyes for a second and you're quiet, which is, like, very rare in my family. But you just, like, listen to it all. And then you, like, open your eyes and you, like, go and you about it. It's just, like, that feeling of, like, I like it. And I wish I could do it, like, not necessarily every day, but there are, like, aspects of this that I love that I want to continue to do. Which is, like, we were literally at my aunt's house and had that moment.
Yeah. You're making me cry, but I think the older you get, the more you recognize those. like, they must have been all the time when you're growing up, but
Mm-hmm.
you don't. I was a freaking brat.
Oh, I know, yeah.
So, like, I didn't notice. And I did say to Ellie, sometimes I revert to, like, my 15-year-old self, especially with my mom. And then I'm glad that I can recognize it now. Like, when I was a teenager and I was a brat, I don't think I really processed, like, how rude I was being.
Mm-hmm.
Or, like, why did I do that? Like, I only have a short time with my mom.
Yeah.
But sometimes, like, I, like, snap at her. And then I'm like, Erica, what the hell?
Yeah.
Why are you doing that? And my dad wasn't my parents are divorced and my dad wasn't at this, so I didn't, like, spend time with him. But I do notice, like, myself losing patience with either parent sometimes. And I'm only there for a week. So it's, like, a good check for me of, like, sometimes when you're really comfortable with a person, you
feel this need to, like, oh, I know. For me right now, it's with my sisters. Mm. And I just, like, I think I've, in my mind, have been like, oh, it's because, like, I'm trying to take care of you, which I think is true. But I also think because there's, not that there's boundaries, but I just think, like, yeah, the comfort level is just, like, you're just so comfortable that you feel the need to, like, say anything. And in my mind, there's still, like, these young little kids that I'm trying to, like, navigate through the world and, like, not have them step in the same, like, potholes that I did. Mm-hmm. But then I also catch myself where I'm like, God damn, I'm such an asshole sometimes. But I'm also like, it's the only way you'll learn.
I had it too, so you have to have
So
this.
now it's your turn. Which they're, like, probably so sick of hearing by now. But yeah, it's being with family makes you see a lot of beautiful things, but then you also see, like, it in yourself. Like, I was telling you, like, my family has this dynamic of people feeling like they're, like, left out or no one loves me and yada yada. And also yada yada. I'm so done hearing myself saying it. I'm over
Yada
it.
yada.
I hate it. Anyway, they're just feeling left out and whatever. And I feel that way sometimes. I'm like, oh my God, like, no one loves me, whatever. I'm like, oh, I need to stop. Because then I see it in other people and I'm like, oh my God, do I sound like that?
Yeah.
That's crazy. I need to stop. It's just like a little reflection of yourself too when you're with family.
Yeah.
I also think too, a lot of what I've been thinking about recently is having my sister's kid there, like the next generation, plus my uncle's, his kids. Mm-hmm. So they were like generations all together. And like having like kids there, I don't know, it's just...
Oh, what are you about to say? She's changed her tune.
I don't think I've changed my tune yet. I just think, like, I don't know. I can't help thinking, like, this is really beautiful. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I think a lot of the reasons why I say I don't want kids is because it's more of, like, I feel like I'm a selfish person and I'm not ready to, like, not selfish and, like, take on the task. But then I think of things that are important to me and, like, what are priorities in my life, and the main thing I think over everything else right now is family. And I think it's always been, whether it's like, you know, what I mean of like, oh, having like parents and then my sisters, all of these things, like it's always going to be some sort of family. And so I get like having kids there, you're talking about culture, there's stories being brought up that you like know, but then you kind of like forgot. I don't know, it's just very beautiful to have like the kids there because they kind of like bring everybody together. Like we would have not all gone, my dad would have not gone to Disney World if it wasn't for Gabriella.
Yeah.
Like we were there because it was her birthday, but then it ended up being a celebration of Tuli's birthday, of Isabella's birthday, of like my dad and Cindy's birthday because theirs birthday, like everybody went and like we were there doing this like little kid activity. But she was having such a blast that everybody else was like, oh my God, this is fun. Mm-hmm. And they were all like, oh, just for Gabriella, which I think at the start it was. But at the end of the day, I truly believe everybody had a blast.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, just thinking of things. I'm not going to say it, but y'all know what I'm trying to say. I just don't know. It was definitely something on my mind of like, is this a priority? I don't know. Mm-hmm. I'm like, I have no idea, which I think is okay. I think a lot of people don't know.
Yeah. No, I get that. I think I still feel similar of like, I would not want to have a kid if I didn't feel like I had the support of a partner. Mm-hmm. Like, I know that I'd have the support of my family, but like, even just being around my little cousins, it's like they're fun at dinner and then I'm like, hey, I want to go play pickleball. I want to go hang out. Like, but I am excited for when my siblings start having kids. I don't think I'm going to be the first one if I have them.
Yeah.
And I'm excited to, like, be an aunt because I do, like, I don't know that feeling, but I am, like, excited.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best. You get to spoil them with all sorts of stuff. But then also, like, I don't know, I'm very, like, protective. So it's nice to, like, have something to protect because my sisters don't want me to protect them.
Speaking of controlling. We are not pop culture fiends.
No.
I honestly don't keep up with anything. I don't even know who this person... I knew who Jonah Hill was.
Yeah.
But I didn't know who Sarah Brady was. I also don't know why she decided to post their texts on her Instagram.
Yeah.
I don't know what stemmed this. But if you didn't know, Sarah Brady's this professional surfer who dated Jonah Hill, and she put a bunch of their, like, personal texts on her Instagram, just kind of showing, like, emotional manipulation and misuse of boundaries and, like, therapy talk and how that impacted her. And we thought we'd speak on it, not on them per se, but just on, like, the idea or the concept of boundaries in general and, like, what is actually a boundary and what are types of boundaries, what are our boundaries, why are they important, and it just feels relevant for what's going on in the world.
Yeah, it just kind of, like, sparks a conversation of, like, what are boundaries, and, like, do I have clear boundaries? Have I been spoken to in this way? Do I speak to people this way? It just is, I think, worth a conversation. And, like, not necessarily, like, about them, because I don't really know too much about them and that situation. But it is, like, interesting to read and see and then kind of, like, reevaluate myself and, like, where I'm at in terms of, like, my boundaries.
In the text that he sent, from what I remember, there was a line of, like, if you're going to post, like, basically he said, like, if you're going to post, like, pictures in skimpy bikinis, if you're going to hang out with, like, these really dramatic girls, if you're going to...
be around guys.
Yeah.
Like, or take pictures with guys, being guys. That was weird.
Being guys, I would understand a little bit. Anyway, that's what he was saying was, like, his boundary. And I think that just, like, is a little twisted in the thinking of, like, that's controlling someone and what they can and can't do. That's not necessarily saying, like, this is something that I'm holding myself to and I'm not going to cross it. But how would you describe a boundary? What is a boundary?
Great question. I think for me, boundaries, what I would want them to be is, like, very, like, secure, very, like, I statements, what I'm comfortable in, like, what is okay with me. Like, I need to, you know, be in bed by this time because I feel like I function with 8 hours of sleep, yada yada. Like, stop saying yada yada. Sorry, guys.
I honestly don't notice it. I think it's just you.
Maybe it was just, like, the editing and hearing it over and over. It's like a track that just keeps playing in my head. Yada 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 yada. I'm like, it's that. So I would say, like, secure I statements for myself in order to, like, that I've learned that are important to my health and safety. Right now my boundaries are, like, so freaking squiggly wiggly. It just is not working out so well. But I think that would be, like, my non-scientific definition of a boundary for myself, like, what I envision it to look like for me. What about you?
I think similar. What I am and am not comfortable with or willing to do. Like, again, it's, like, what I would say for myself. And I think in relationships, sometimes I said this the other day, like, I'm spineless and I just will, like, let someone, like, if I feel like it would benefit them, sometimes I just, like, lose my boundary or, like, that comfortability. Like, yeah, I am uncomfortable, but, like, whatever. And then I'm like, why did I do that? So it's the people-pleasing tendency that I'm still working on, but it's not necessarily me being like, you can't do that. Like, you won't do that. I won't hang out with you if you do. It's more of like, I'm not going to hang out with you because I'm not comfortable. Not because you can do whatever the heck you want. I'm just not going to be there type thing.
Yeah. I think what I have learned recently and what I've been practicing when it comes to like looking for relationships or looking for a partner is, yes, I have my boundaries, but then I also have like my type of like what I am actually looking for. Because like, yes, guys with tattoos are sexy. This is what I'm like looking for. I want you to be this. But I think recently, not even recently, but like the past few years have been really like trying to figure out like what it is that I'm looking for. Because I think like just based on like this whole whatever Jonah Hill, him saying all of this bullshit, I'm thinking like these are signs like I would need, like I don't want to be with someone like this. And that I think sometimes shows itself. I mean, obviously there are situations like where people can be in a relationship for a long time and whatever. I'm just talking about at the very beginning, like sorting out what I like and what I don't like. Like for me, just using the example of like I like to be in bed in order to like get like a certain amount of sleep. I'm not gonna need like I should not navigate towards someone that's like a night owl or like feels like they need to be like partying 24/7 or like needs whatever, you know. I just am trying to like say that even though my boundaries when it comes to like being in a relationship or being like maybe more like intimate with someone are still kind of blurred. I think I've gotten better with like knowing what it is like safe and comfortable and what I like at the beginning stages of like meeting someone, which I think is like a healthy step forward, because I wouldn't necessarily classify those as boundaries, but it helps when you're establishing boundaries or like getting into a relationship.
Yeah.
Does that make sense what I'm
No,
trying
it
to say?
does.
Okay.
It does. I was thinking about, as we were talking, and as I was thinking about what Jonah Hill said in those texts about, like, I don't want you, if you're going to do this, then, like, I'm not the person for you. We've talked about this in previous, like, relationship episodes, but in my last relationship, I had a lot of insecurities around my partner at the time, like, having a lot of female friendships. And I'm thinking about it in terms of, like, how I handled it. And I definitely, like, could have handled it better, but I never said, like, if you're going to have female friends, then, like, I'm not going to date you type thing.
Yeah.
But I also am like, what is the boundary then? Because it was more of, like, I was insecure and I needed to work on it. But, like, I could express to him that I was uncomfortable. But I guess it's like, if that's a line for me that, this is crazy, but if that's a line for me of like my partner can't have friendships with opposite gender, then that's a me thing and I would need to leave.
Yeah.
Not that's a you problem and you need to fix it.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yes. I also think in certain situations, and I've said this to you before, is that's never been like a problem for you. I don't think this has like not been like ever since you first started, you know, it's not like an ongoing like issue or like boundary, which again isn't really a boundary.
Yeah, I think it's like
a little, that's where I'm like, I think in that instance, when you're feeling a little like your gut is trying to tell you something, I think it's like a deeper problem than whatever boundary or whatever issue is actually at hand in that situation. And I think that is more so of what it is, just because like the female friendships, it's a great example for both cases of like Jonah Hill's example of being like trying to use this like, then I'm not the one for you, or you're not the one for me, or like we can't be together. Like it is very much like I'm the one with the issue and I need to take a step back. I'm not going to sit here and text you all the things that are wrong with you because like it's my problem. Which like I think you recognize, but I think there's like a little bit of like deeper things going on. Yeah, I feel that's just a whole other topic. Friendships.
Yeah. Well, I did find this article that talks about, this is on betterup.com, but it talks about like the 5 types of boundaries. The first one being emotional. And it says like emotional boundaries have to do with being clear on what is and isn't yours to feel or fix, which is a big one for me.
We're diving in with the first one. Okay.
Like, this is something I've really worked on the last year of, it says in here, your emotions and emotional well-being are within your control regardless of what's happening for the other person. And a situation actually came up with my sister and her boyfriend and just like her being upset with his reaction to something. And I'm like, you cannot control that. What can you control? Like that is what you can focus on, and
Yeah.
like how are you feeling and what can and can't do with that. Because it gives in here an example of like someone venting about their manager at work or whatever, and you can listen, but it's like your emotional boundary to not also take on their emotion and also be mad at their manager and like be upset by it and whatever. You have thoughts, I can tell. So I'm gonna stop talking.
I hate that I wear everything on my face sometimes. I have no poker face. Call me crazy. You won't be the first one. But, like, how do you do that? Because I feel very, like, passionate, and sometimes, like, I expect that same passion from my partner. Is that just, like, wrong of me to feel that way? And for instance, the reason why you, like, based on this example of, like, if I, on both ends, like, if my partner is coming to me and they're telling me, like, their manager is a piece of shit, can you believe this story? I'm like, what? Who the fuck did that? Tell him, whatever. And I expect that if I'm coming home and I'm complaining about my manager or whatever, I want them to be like, that's messed up. Like so I mean, is that different than what you're saying?
I think,
like, how do you do that?
So it closes out with saying we all have our own thoughts and feelings and can care about each other without losing our sense of self. And I think that last piece is huge of like, if I'm just becoming so consumed with your problems that you're telling me and like your insecurities or whatever, that I'm like, because I did this was my last relationship of like, I honestly was like, I'm such a boring person. Like I was like terrified of myself in a way because all I was thinking about was like other people and their problems and what they were, and worrying constantly about how they're feeling. What are they doing?
Oh, I see.
Do they? And it's like, I wasn't doing anything that was like helping my own emotions, or like I was losing like my own sense of self because I was caring way too much about, or like so emotionally invested in other people's issues. Does that make sense?
No, I definitely. Like, and I see the difference between like having that passion and caring for someone and getting that result versus like again, like being just so emotionally invested and like crossing over a line where it is like you have no other outlet but this person, and so it's like it's too much. On that one, just another quick note where I see that in myself is like emotional boundaries when it comes to family. As I just talked about how much I love my family. I just think it's important. It was one thing that like was a lot that like it's like I think a trigger in a lot of relationships, and so I think that's like where I would need to create boundaries as far as like emotional boundaries.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah. Second one?
The second one is intellectual boundaries. It says, everyone has different beliefs, ideas, and values. Intellectual boundaries help us respect one another's different viewpoints. It's important so that you don't expect people in your relationships to share all your opinions or adopt all of your views.
That's a good one. I think this is the boundary, though, of like, if you are so strong in your beliefs that you need to recognize that with yourself, and when you are looking for a partner, you need to make sure that you're looking for partners that somehow fit into that life, because two opposite ends of the spectrum, it's going to be very difficult for you guys to combine.
Yeah. No, it's true. I think there's a difference of like religious beliefs too, and like just being a decent human. Like, I don't think I could date someone that is constantly an asshole to people. Yeah. Like, even if that's their, like, sense of humor, I don't find that funny. I'm, like, embarrassed and, like, I don't want to be in public if you're being rude, even if you're doing it in, like, a joking way. Yeah. But it's not like I'm going to control you. It's I'm going to leave the situation. And whereas, like, religious beliefs, it's like, don't force it down my throat, but I can respect that brings comfort to people, and if it's making them if it's helping them to like be in tune with themselves spiritually, or reminding them to like serve others, whatever. If it's bringing goodness into their life, then great. I might not believe the same as you, but I'm not going to, like, disrespect that about you.
Yeah. I would just hope that, too, like, they're okay with that.
Mm-hmm. The third one, I think this one is, like, the most common, is physical boundaries. We all have different levels of comfort when it comes to physical touch. Some people may be comfortable with hugs. Others may not appreciate physical touch at all, like, in a workplace or in, like, a first meeting setting. I try to read people, like, when I first meet them, I'm fine with a hug, but I try and read people of, like, we're doing a handshake, are we just saying hey?
Do you give a handshake on your dates? Do I?
I don't know.
No, I don't think.
I don't think I give a handshake. I think if it's a date, it's like
a hug.
A hug.
Yeah.
If they, like, were weirded out by that, I think I would be like, okay.
Yeah. I'm definitely, like, a hug maybe after. I think people always, like, want to go. It's just so awkward for me. Like, I really wish people would read me more of, like, I'm just not a hugger. Yeah. And I don't really necessarily want to be, like, hugging right away. Like, I don't know you.
Yeah,
this
I
is
get
very,
that.
and so it's like the and then like a one arm side hug.
I feel like that's usually what it is. It's a, like, yeah, good to meet you, and then we keep walking and doing whatever. And yeah.
Physical boundaries. That's a good one.
Physical boundaries are really important. I think that's the one that I need to work on in relationships. Financial boundaries. Conversations about money can be tough, but we all know they're needed. You probably talk about money with your partner. Maybe you have joint accounts or saving for vacation. However, money is also a factor in other relationships. And I think that's more of, like, whether or not you can go out to eat every single night, whether or not you can go on a vacation, whether or not, like, you... I feel like it's a lot of, like, activities is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
And, like...
Or something for the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like, Ellie or I, whatever. We've decided that we're only going out to eat. I don't know why we're suddenly a partnership. What the hell? That was weird.
And apparently we're only going out to eat once a week or whatever you were going to say. So this is all news to me.
I don't know why I decided to give a joint example.
Maybe because I just said, like, house and we do a lot of the things. I don't know. I see where you were going.
Anyway, if I say I'm only going to go out to eat once a week, and I get invited to go out to eat, like, 3 times by the same person who knows that my financial boundary is that I'm only allowing myself to go out once. Hopefully they would respect that boundary. It's fine if they invite me, I think.
Yeah.
But, like, understanding that, like, I'm not going to go out the other 2 times.
Yeah.
That's what I think of in that instance.
I think that's perfect.
Okay. And then the last one is sexual boundaries, which I guess is a little different than physical. When it comes to physical intimacy, sexual boundaries shouldn't be ignored. Discussing what's off limits and what kind of contact you prefer is needed to develop a trusting relationship.
I can see how they're different.
Yeah, I guess.
Physical and, like, exclusively sexual boundaries.
Yeah, being very intimate with someone.
No, I like those. Those were 5 good ones. I think they cover everything that is important on how to, like, set a boundary.
Yeah. So before we dive into, like, our own boundaries or just talking more about, like, examples, I like what this says in here about how healthy boundaries are supposed to develop mutual respect and create a sense of comfort and safety. Unhealthy boundaries do the opposite. They are often a lack of boundaries. Those boundaries aim to control the other person and manipulate them into doing things they don't want to do, which is literally the example of those text messages. And I was reading some articles about people being like, I don't understand why everyone's freaking out. Like, that's what he, like, expects in a relationship. And I'm like, okay, but that doesn't mean that she has to change her way of living in order to, like, be with him. That's a him problem. Yeah. He can't control her. And also, she's a professional surfer, so you're basically, like, telling her to stop. You're taking away her power. Yeah. Yeah, literally.
That's why I tried, like, at the beginning, that's why I say, for all those people that are, like, so confused on like the attitude that's been given based on, like, his boundaries, he's made his boundaries clear. It's like, if those are so deep of your boundaries, why the fuck did you date a surfer?
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'm saying is, like, if you have things that you cannot let go, like, you cannot date someone that's religious. If that is something, like, so, like, you can't do God, you can't hear it, why are you going after people that are religious?
Yeah.
If you know you're gonna, like, become this fucking crazy manipulator. Like, that's why I'm saying is, like, if you, before it gets to this point where you're, like, sending crazy messages saying, like, if you need this, and this, like, putting all of that on that person, you need to have a conversation with yourself and making sure that you're going after, or, like, chasing after, whatever the word is, after people that are actually going to fit into, like, your lifestyle so that you can be a healthy person. Because if you are clearly this uncomfortable with her life, her power, her whatever, like, why are you even in a relationship then? Again, same thing as, like, that's very much a him problem. But I'm also, like, to all those people, like, he made his boundaries clear. One, over text message. Fuck you, dude. Pick up the phone. And second, like, why wasn't that talked about on the first date?
Yeah.
Hi, I'm a surfer. Oh, do you take pictures of your bathing suit? Nah, sorry, I gotta go. Seems crazy. Would have ended there.
Yeah.
Would have been a fun date story for her, and he would have been with someone that wasn't taking pictures in a bathing suit and, like, helping guys or people surf.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck?
I guess to me it's like, is that a boundary?
No, it's not like a boundary. It's
like
fucking
a
crazy.
preference?
I don't know. I think it's something deeper. When it's something like that, where it's like human, like, interaction, it's like there is something deeper there.
Yeah.
And again, if it is you're so brainwashed that you think it's a boundary, that you're so uptight on, why wasn't it talked about before?
Yeah. No, I get what you're saying.
That's why I don't think that it's a boundary, because I'm like, you are literally dating a professional surfer who is now, like, instructing people. And now, like, you have a problem with her wearing, like, bathing suits, and, like, it just doesn't make any sense to me.
I know. Like, you knew what you were getting into.
I think bottom line, it's not a boundary, but I think for all, like, kind of being the devil's advocate of, like,
if that's something that's going to bother you.
If that's something, I'm not even going to say it's a boundary, but if that is something that's going to cause an issue, why are you chasing after people that are going to create issues for you, because now you look like an asshole? Yeah. Which, you're going to look like an asshole anyways if you send those messages even on a first date. That's ridiculous. But whatever. Like, don't date surfers is going to be step number one.
Yeah, to control someone in general is manipulation. Yeah. I think. Like, everyone has their own personal preferences, personal things that they, like, would hope someone would respect. But at the end of the day, I mean, even with that emotional one was saying, it's like you need to be in control. Like, you are only allowed to control yourself and your own emotions. I can't control how someone else responds. I can't control what someone else does. So it's like, what are the lines that you're not going to cross with anyone? Yeah. Whether that's a partner or a friend or whatever.
Yeah, I think it's important to, like, if you start to have, like, you statements, like, you need to do this, I need you to do that, like, that's where it's not a boundary anymore. Yeah. Because it stopped being your safety and it started being like, okay, I'll be happy if I manipulate them into fit in my box. Yeah. In order to, like...
And I don't think it, like... It needs to go to an extreme of, like, you can't talk about things that make you, like, uncomfortable or be, like... Like, I just think, again, about my relationship and about, like, being uncomfortable with some things when they were, like, hanging out really late at a girl's house. And I'm just like, why are you, like, it makes me uncomfortable knowing, like, before I'm going to bed that you're still over there alone with some girl and I don't know what's going on. And, like, I get that that's my own insecurity. I would appreciate if you, like, texted me when you got home. Yeah. Whatever. Hopefully that is, like, a respected thing and not to be like, you can't do this anymore, you have to go home. Like, that is very different. Or, like, hey, I would appreciate if you helped with the chores. I don't know. Like, that's not controlling someone. It's more of, like, voicing your opinion or what would help you. And hopefully in a relationship there's this, like, mutual desire to help each other.
Yeah. Do you have any, like, very specific boundaries that you have that you kind of, like, have carried from relationship to relationship or that you're good in right now that you would like to share?
Yeah, I mean, when we said we were going to talk about, like, our own individual boundaries, I've been racking my brain to be like, what are my boundaries?
I'm so glad you said that because yeah, I don't know if I can give an example, because I could sit here and say like, oh, my boundary is this. And it's like, I pretty much like recently have like, like even walked all over my own boundaries.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe a better question is, what are some boundaries that seem important to you that you would like to kind of really make a boundary?
Yeah, that's good. That's a better question. I think like physical intimacy stuff is a big one, which I do feel like I've worked on. Like in previous episodes, we've talked about the last summer and our our shenanigans that we went on, and not that I was having copious amounts of sex with random people, but I did have some hookups, and they didn't make me feel good. Mm-hmm. And I was not like stoked when afterwards, and then I was kind of just like, why did I do that? And I think it was because I was numbing things. I think it was because I was avoiding things. I think it was like there were a lot of underlying issues, but now that I've been going on dates, it's like 9 times out of 10 I try not to be like, have any physical intimacy, like a hug, maybe a kiss if there's like, we're really vibing. But I think that is like, I want to get to know you on a emotional, like personal level before we're like getting in each other's space.
Yeah.
Type thing.
Yeah.
The financial one, when we were talking about those examples, like I need to have better boundaries about that. I think when something seems fun or like I don't feel like cooking or whatever, I'm just like, whatever. And then I'm upset when I look at my bank account.
Yeah.
But I also think it makes like certain, like going out to eat more enjoyable when it's not something that you're doing all the time. Or like when you go to a concert, it's like, oh, this is so fun because I'm not going to a concert every single weekend type thing where I'm just like blowing all my money. I think I appreciate those experiences more when I've like saved up for them or like this set aside a certain amount of funds for it. And being home helped remind me of like how much there still is to do that I could do literally every weekend and not really spend any money.
Yes, definitely. I think the biggest one right now is probably like financial boundaries, just more to like set in stone and have in place, really. I think the like intimacy boundaries are important when it comes to like dating. I think like there's like intimacy boundaries when you're in a relationship or you're starting a relationship, but I think for me it's like have boundaries that I want to maintain for when I am like going on dates before I even like go into a relationship, to see if I can like follow those rules that I set for myself. And then I think too, right now the big thing is like I want to stop using boundaries as an excuse to not do things. I think like I very much am like, I wouldn't say I'm a homebody, but I do feel this need to have like me time. And so when I'm like done with work or it's been a long day and I've done my chores, I still feel like I need like me time. And to me, that's like me time is like by myself or like in my room or watching TV. And so I end up like in my mind saying like, oh, well, this is like I can't go out, I can't do these things, like this is my boundary. And I think for me, it's like shifting, instead of like shielding myself, actually creating boundaries in order to be like a healthier person. So like, yeah, I need me time, but if I need to like change my thought process. So like if I'm out like at happy hour or like walking on, like taking the dogs for a walk or like going like we did yesterday of like going and like painting at the park, like that is me time. I don't need to be like sitting in front of the television. I don't need to be like laying down. I don't need to be like stuffing my face with food for it to be me time. Yeah. So like in that, does that make, and like setting boundaries like that. Yeah. I don't have like a very clear example of like what that would look like, but I think just being more aware of what I'm doing and like my time management, and then figuring out like healthy boundaries from there, instead of using it, because it is kind of like I'm manipulating myself into thinking like, oh, I need to do this, where it's like, am I being lazy? Am I just being like fearful of like wanting to stay inside of like my little comfort zone, which is like getting smaller and smaller? I like need to branch out a little bit and stop using like boundaries as an excuse to myself to like not fill up my cup.
I know that sometimes for myself I do similar of like, this is like what I'm comfortable with, But it kind of goes back to that, like, you're in control of your feelings and your emotions. And so rather than being like, me time equals TV, it's like, me time equals, like, recharging, re-energizing myself. And there's more than one way for me to do that. And I do think, like, the best re-energizing is, for me, is being outside. Mm-hmm. So, like, I really enjoyed that we did that last night. Like, I was exhausted. I took a nap yesterday. I didn't want to be, like, out on the town per se, but I'm glad that we went to the park. Like, we weren't really talking. We were just chilling there, and it was great. And there's more than one way for me to be able to feel re-energized and, like, reset myself without being like, I can only watch TV. Sorry, I can't do anything else. I will say I really respect, and I've noticed it more, when we go out and friends that are like, I'm tired, I'm going to go to bed. Or like, I have something I'm going to do tomorrow. Like, I'll see you guys later. And even though I'm like, dang, like, I want to keep hanging out. This is fun. It's like, there's a line, there's a boundary. And they are like, I think it just goes back to being in control of how they're going to feel. And they know tomorrow they're not going to feel great if they stay out longer. Yeah. And that's fine. And it's like 9 times out of 10, the night goes on and I'm like, damn it, I wish I would have, like, gone to bed because now I'm exhausted type thing.
Well, it's that same thing too, is like when I am stuck at home, not stuck, when I've like stuck myself at home for so long that I go out, I'm like, oh, it's like that you were saying this, like, concerts, like the one and only time I'll go out because I'm just doing, so I go all out, like, big and go crazy. So if I just make this more of a priority and shift my focus, I'll be able to have clear boundaries so that I can be like, nope, I'm going home, like, I've had my fill today, and now I'm going to bed. Because when friends do that, I just, like, respect them so much when they stand up and do those things, because I'm like, oh damn, you go, girl, or whoever, you get your
I
shit
don't think
together.
You're good at that.
Yeah, because I'm like, fuck, I just want to be home. But sure, yeah, boundaries, all that. No, yeah, so it just goes back to, like, pushing my boundaries out a little bit more so that I can be in charge. So that way I'm not going out and, like, drinking until 3 every time someone invites me to go do something on a Friday or a Saturday. Mm-hmm. And then I feel like it's the cycle of, like, then my weekend, and then I'm not doing anything. Or if I just, it's like a continual thing, I'll be okay ending the day at, like, 7 or 8 because I have plans. And then
yeah. Or, like, if I go out, I'm only going to buy 2 drinks. Like, that type of thing. Because it's like that will help you feel better the next day, and also help with, like, your financial boundaries. I think there's just more of, like, for me, what I'm realizing as we're doing this episode is that I should actually sit down and write down, like, I think in these categories, what are some quote unquote boundaries for myself, or, like, really, I think for me it's the root of, like, what will make me feel good and happy and, like, content, and what does that look like in these 5 areas? Yeah. Financially, physically, emotionally, like, what does that look like? And I don't think it's necessarily a list of, like, what I won't do per se, but, like, what do I want to do that makes me feel the happiest? Yeah.
I mean, even for me, a quick example that I was just thinking of, like, I really like in the morning time being outside with my coffee, and, like, that time of the day where, like, the sun's not out, like, super bright, it's not super hot, and I'm able to call my family. It's pretty early in the morning. Mm-hmm. And so if, like, that is something that's a priority for me to, like, fill my cup, for me to, like, reset, rejuvenate, just feel, like, on top of the world, that is, like, a morning activity that kind of, at least for me, sometimes needs to be scheduled because I like being in my bed. Yeah. So if it's, like, a Friday night and everybody's hanging out, a boundary for me is going to be, like, only 2 drinks and go home at this time. Where, like, saying it out loud, it might sound like I can't do it, but really it's because my boundary and my priority is to wake up and do this thing in the morning.
And as you were saying that, it's like communicating that with the people you're around, and hopefully they're respecting that and also helping you to maintain that boundary so that you can go home. Like, if someone's, which I do think I'm guilty, I think everyone's probably guilty of being like, no, stay, one more drink, whatever. Yeah. It's like, yeah, that's in, like, a fun, loving way. But if someone's like, hey, I really only want to buy 2 drinks tonight, and, like, I would like to be back by 11, hopefully you love and respect and care about them enough to be like, hey, like, Ellie, it's almost 11. Did you
Someone
still
took the
go?
time to say it it's probably important to them.
Yeah.
So being able to follow that too. Again, just like I have so much respect for people that do that, because I'm like, yes.
But I also think about like on dates too, when it's like, for me, I want to be in bed by 10. I want to be up by 5. I want to like do all these things. And when I don't usually communicate what I want in that scenario. So then I'm like exhausted the next day, or like I miss out on the things that really make me happy in the morning, or like usually make my day productive because I didn't communicate those.
Or wasn't like secure in your own boundaries in order to get that.
And I feel like if I did and someone was like not respecting that, then that's a sign to me of like, I don't really want to date this person.
Yeah. I also feel like I wish I was a little bit better at like being like strong and secure in my boundaries with people I didn't know. With people I do know, like I am not afraid to be like, I'm not doing that. I'm going to stay at home. Like you can go. Family, very clear of like what I am, what I'm not doing. Friends, like it's like easier, hit or miss. But like on like a first date, it is hard because I'm like, I don't know. Again, the people pleasing, we talked about this, but I'm like, oh, I just wish I could. Which is weird. I feel like it should be the opposite. Because I'm like, I don't know you. I don't really care about you.
Yeah, like there's no connection.
There's no connection. So why am I like putting you so high up that I'm like, I can't even tell you that I need to go home by this time. Yeah, done deal.
Yeah, I mean, we have talked about it like on first dates, like having an activity you need to get to after, like being like, hey, I have plans at 10, so like just letting you know that that's the time limit I have.
Yeah, which is like such good advice. Go us.
I know, maybe we should take our own advice.
Seriously.
Sometimes I'm like, we have great things to say. I wish I like implemented them more.
Yeah,
but
that's why we record it, so we can go back and listen to it over and over and over again. That is like wild about those messages, and if anything else comes up or you guys know anything else, please send them because I'm interested in the story.
Yeah. Would you ever put your personal texts on social media though? I guess never say never, but I just like don't like. I think about the Me Too movement and women speaking up about like sexual abuse and stuff in the workplace and all that, and it's like obviously we need people to do that. So I don't necessarily like disagree with her approach at all, because it's like if there's emotional abuse happening, like great that you're putting that out there and showing to other women especially like that that's not okay. I personally just can't, and I've never dated a celebrity, so I don't know, but like foreseeing myself being like, this is what they did.
I think like I know the feeling of being like so furious and upset of like, I'm gonna ruin your life kind of thing. I've never acted upon that. So I don't know. I also think like this kind of stuff is like, I can only imagine the shitty things that are being said to her.
Yeah, that's true.
Because there are like crazy people out there and everybody's entitled to their own thoughts. So when you put it out for everybody, like you put your business to be everybody else's business, you are opening a door to be told that you're wrong, because there's going to be half as many people that think you're in the wrong as they do think that you're in the right. And so I think that's my only thing of like sharing. I also feel like this is my sharing. Like I will tell you guys, like I'll be very like open and honest of stuff like that, just so that people can like, and I like what she said. She, you know, it was educational of like, if this is what you're getting, this is abuse. And if you are having issues, like removing yourself from the situation, it ended with like, give me a call, which like, you know, it was like, you're a celebrity. So yeah, right. But I think the message was like, I'm here to take my situation and help people. And I like that. But like, it's just you open a door for a lot of stuff. And I don't know if I would want to do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I would use it to like help on this platform, or like my siblings if they're in like a crazy like situation. Yeah. To be like, look, this is what happened to me and this is wrong. Yeah, I don't know if I put it on blast like that, though. Then again, like, people are like, we're not even famous. Like, if we put it on blast, it'd be like our 200 followers that are like, oh my God. But still, it's like, I don't know. I don't think I would do it. Yeah. But, yeah.
Anyway, speaking of followers, go follow us.
Create boundaries, and within those boundaries, make sure that you followed us. And
we're going to manipulate? Okay. No.
Just as awkward at the end as it is in the beginning.
See you later.
Love ya. Bye.